Thank you for joining me for another quick demo. Today I want to cover the random word challenge and apply it to a motorcycle. So first thing I like to start off with is make a default US paper size format, make a new layer. I have my brush ready to go, and my favorite brush recently is the number 23 from the Photoshop default brushes. And then I have transfer on pen pressure, and also smoothing on. So as with any type of vehicle, I like to look at what the proportions and the package of that vehicle are. So for the motorcycle, I will maybe look at a few pictures, try to kind of study the proportions. Like, I think this one's really cool, but I think maybe proportion wise is a little bit too tall. We got kind of like the Harley style. We have some concept vehicles, concept bikes. Typically though, for a motorcycle, you want to have about a wheel and a half in the middle. And I like to exaggerate certain proportions. So how I like to start is, well, first of all, with most of my land vehicles, start off with a ground plane and put one wheel, one and a half wheels, and then I got the other wheel. And for motorcycles, what I like to do is, to really simplify stuff, have a box that ends in between the wheels, and then cut out the seat, maybe define where the headlamp would be, and maybe put a little bit of rake on the bottom part, and maybe extend the tail just a bit. And since I'm trying to do this really quickly, I'm not going to get into a lot of details. In fact, I'm pretty much just going to design the sculpture of the fairing, or like the plastic shell that covers all the mechanical stuff. I'm not even going to really get into the wheels. So once I've established where that body is, I can duplicate it, scale it up to a presentation size, and I'll make a new layer. Scale my brush really big, blanket this whole thing, and I lay down the strokes and I go lower and lower so I have a nice crown on the side. And I use that same brush as my eraser. And when you're erasing, be careful to lift the pen off of the pad so you don't have to do Control Z and go back too far. One good thing about erasing with this bigger brush is that sometimes it can kind of give an effect of it's rolling around, give a little bit of a three-dimensional feel to certain surfaces. Now, one thing I recommend with most vehicles is, if you're going to do design elements, keep them in a horizontal fashion. So, for example, I can just duplicate this and just erase off the bottom. Or I might rake it down a little bit. There we go. I think that's fine. Maybe it's catching a little bit of light underneath. And this way you're breaking up the big bulky stuff. Let's see. On that original sketch, I think I'm going to erase some of these lines. Just a little bit. Not going to get carried away. And the random word challenge. So the random word challenge is you pretty much put in any word, and you have to find the first image that pops up. So in this case, maybe I can just do all. If I put in all, and I'll just pick this image. And the challenge is to take an image and find some inspiration in it that you can then challenge yourself to apply on top of your blank body. In this case, right off the bat, I see certain things. I see this little halo here. That's an interesting curve. Teardrop, that's an easy one. Maybe just this little angle here. So you want to pick out like 3 to 5 inspirational things. And let's see, I'll take this and I'll try to see, okay, how can I put it? So right off the bat, I notice this could make a nice little scoop there. And if I turn them around, all right, so this is a really easy one. I can just make that into a scoop there. This one, it's getting a little bit on the lazy side, this curve. Teardrop is very easy. Teardrop, I can just maybe make it a part of the end of the engine. I think I'll keep it simple with just this thing. It's a very nice and clean, simple design. And so this might be my theme. Very simple. So maybe I'll shorten this and also use it to help define my seat. So maybe they'll turn into my seat, and I can take this and also use it to define other parts, maybe the graphic for the front lights. I mean, that's another easy one. Maybe right there. Maybe take it towards the rear, just flip it. That's another easy one right there. Maybe I'll merge all of these. And go in here with some little bit cleaner line work. So for the seat, maybe that's the graphic. And by the way, there's a few different methods. One is a Control-Z method where you make strokes until they look right. And you make them fit the design. Another way is to just zoom in and trace. By the way, I will use R to rotate my canvas. So maybe I'll finish off this stroke the old-fashioned way. Bring it up there. Bring it there. Add a little bit of thicker line there. And also erase this part off. For the rear light, this guy kind of comes down here and then shoots towards the rear. Okay, so that's 5 minutes, and I want to try to wrap this up in another 5 minutes. Just the tail. And the zoom in method, you basically reduce error because there's less chance of you doing that. Define this a little bit more. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Maybe the seat. There we go. The front light. Put a little bit more angle, kind of define it a little bit more. And I should really take care of this. So to do nice consistent line work, I will use the Control-Z. So I'll hit that. And then I'll warp it into place. And let's see. I'm going to find that original value that I had. Where did it go? Here it is. I'll just duplicate that and erase around the graphic elements in this case. So maybe the light, the seat, and the front light. And I think that definitely needs to be darker. Merge those down. Clean up a little bit more. And since I'm short on time, I'm just going to move on from that. So let's say that's the seat and the lights. And now I'm going to focus on some sculptural elements. So that was more graphic. And right here, I got this nice clean scoop on the side. So how I'm going to treat this is I can either come in with a dark upper or a light lower. Let's see how it'll look if I start with a light lower. So I want to have a gradation going upwards with a crisp edge on the bottom. So I'll make my brush maybe around this size. Make sure I'm on the very top layer. And then I'll come in and just erase away. And you can already kind of see how Photoshop allows you to do some really cool sculptural stuff, especially with this brush. Okay, so I have that. And then next I want to maybe have a little bit of a belly. So over here, maybe there's a little belly. So I'll just come in with the other color. And this time I'm going to do a gradation. Just going down. Just going down a little bit. And then I'll come in with my eraser. Big, big eraser. Maybe I should do another one of these for the front. But this one is just for this little side scoop. I'm going to erase this part so it has maximum effect. I think I want to erase a little bit more of this top part. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. It's a great opportunity to do some beautiful sculptural stuff. I think on this one I want to erase a little bit more of it because at the very end of it I want it to fade out into that body. Yeah, so maybe I'll do a little bit of that value on the front end. Make a new layer. Oh, and it looks like I'm kind of out of time. I want to try to wrap everything up in less than 15 minutes. That gives me 2 minutes. So I think I'll do a little bit of the front. And I'm doing a gradation for that front light area underneath the light. I'll come in here with my eraser. And this way I'm kind of catching the upper surface, giving it a little bit more three-dimensional feel. And erase that off. Maybe just touch it with a few little highlights here and there and call it a day. I got 1.5 minutes to do this. So maybe I'll have a little highlight going here. That little highlight goes here. And by the way, you could see how easily you could do some sculptural stuff. So I see some potential here. Do a little gradation going upwards. And just come in and erase away. Maybe from that peak from the front. Maybe show that it's wrapping around a little bit. And then you want it to be effective. You want to erase off where the line work is. And I want to have a nice transition into the main belly. So I'll fade this out in a nice way. And I'm going to go back to my highlights. I have 15 seconds to wrap this up. So maybe I'll put some highlights here. Maybe some highlights on the seat. All right, and that's 15 minutes. So you can kind of see how far you can go in 15 minutes as far as getting the design work done and then going in with real quick values. And a lot of this is to communicate your intent. This could be a lot better if I spent maybe another hour on the design, another hour on the Viscom. It could really come up to the next level. But a lot of times, if you're under a short amount of time and you have to get some proposals out, this is a really effective way to get ideas out. And I think it's also a very good creative exercise. So I hope you enjoyed this. I try to keep things brief, but I'm just under 16 seconds. But thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you can join me for the next one.